morning, everyone, and welcome back to another session on polity and constitution. I hope I am audible as well as visible. Great, audible and visible. Amazing. We'll wait for those to join and then we'll begin our discussion for the day. Good morning, good morning. Okay, so let's begin now. So, yes. So, this is the first class on polity and constitution. And in this class, we'll go on this amazing journey of the Constitution, right? All the articles in the Constitution, at least most of them, statutes, laws in the country, provisions, various landmark judgments, statutory bodies, some constitutional bodies, their functions, and of course, plethora of issues and concerns that plague our country. And we'll also try to find out solutions for the same, right? And of course, all this will be done keeping in mind the UPSC syllabus because eventually that's what matters, right? So let's begin this journey. Couple of things. When we begin our discussion on any topic for UPSC, because the primary goal is to clear the examination. So two or three things are very important. The first one is, of course, to know why we have assembled here Sunday morning, wasting our time, right? We could have been sleeping or maybe watching some show, new released shows on the various OTT platforms. But we are here because there's a purpose to it. And what's the purpose? The purpose is to, of course, study a topic which is important for the examination. Now, the very first thing is how important is polity for the examination, right? That means how many questions come from polity or constitution in the prelims paper and the mains paper. Number one. Number two, of course, is going to be the syllabus. What exactly is the expectation of UPSC from us, right? And number three is going to be that magical book list. What are those things that we need to study to ace the examination, get good marks in paper two, especially under the topic polity and constitution? So we'll firstly discuss those three elements and then we'll move forward discussing other aspects of the topics at hand. So first up is the importance of this examination or this topic in the prelims. So as far as the preliminary stage, the first stage, the MCQ stage is concerned, I think I don't need to explain to you that here you have 100 questions, each question carrying 2 marks, totaling 200 marks, and you also have negative marking. Now, interestingly, these are the number of questions that have come from polity and constitution. I'm excluding governance, government schemes, some statutory bodies, etc., have been excluded solely from polity and constitution. So 12 questions, 20 questions, and especially my focus would be to tell you post 2015. Now, why post 2015? Because till 2014, we also had CSAT, which was not qualifying. Now CSAT is qualifying. So all you need to do is get 33% marks in CSAT. But before 2015, that is 2014 and before, CSAT marks were added. And that's why if you ever look at the cutoff in UPSC, say in 2011, the cutoff was 198. In 2012, cutoff was 209. In 2013, cutoff was 241. Those cutoffs make no sense, right? The current cutoffs are important. Cutoff, the marks that you need to score to move to the next round, the subjective paper. So in 2015, when we had 15 questions, 30 marks worth questions from polity, the cutoff was 107. Then in the year 2016, a very bad year for polity and for polity faculty, just 6 questions. And the cutoff increased to 116. Then 2017. In 2017, we had 22 questions from polity. Cutoff came down to 105. In 2018 and 19, we had 15 questions each from polity, and cutoff was also 98 in both these years. Then 2020, the number of questions were 20, 40 marks worth questions from polity, and the cutoff 92.51. In 2021, number of questions were 18, cutoff came down further, 87.54. Again, in 2022, the number of questions were 10 and cutoff was 88. This year also, the number of questions have been 15. But of course, we are yet to know the cutoff. So you can understand here that you need to score around 100, 110 marks to be on a very, very safe side to be eligible for the main examination. Now, why I said the cutoff as well is to have our expectations placed properly. It is very important that our expectations are genuine, right? Because when you solve a mock test paper, right, and let's say it's a paper of 50 questions, 100 marks only, you need to know that scoring 75, 80 is something which is not possible and not required also. So don't feel dejected or demotivated if you are not able to score that many marks in a mock test. That is the reason why we need to understand and know what exactly are the marks required to enter the next stage, right? Yes, Adiba, for qualifying prelims, we need to meet the cutoff. We have to cross the cutoff. So to be on the safer side, from this day onwards, always assume that scoring 55 to 60% marks in the prelims would be sufficient. Any given day, right? Any mock test, if you are scoring over 50% marks, it's a very good score, right? Considering especially the recent times. So always aim for this kind of score in your mock tests for MCQs, the prelims one. Now let's look at the syllabus also. What exactly is the syllabus of prelims? Now, if you look at the syllabus of prelims, nothing much has been clarified. It's like, very brief. In fact, a bit too brief. So, first thing is Indian polity and governance. Now, what exactly is the meaning of this word polity? Polity refers to form of government. What is the form of government? Uh, Bhabatosh, cutoff means number of marks you need to get to become eligible for the next round. That's the meaning of cutoff. Okay, simple. Now, Kambapati, what makes decreasing cutoff over the years? See, let's not get into that. It could be various things like the increasing difficulty level of the paper. That has also resulted in decreasing cutoff over the years. That's actually one reason. Though polity questions have not been that difficult. But yes, the way the questions were formatted this year, that has also played a very important role in lowering the cutoff. Okay, so that's it. Anyway, coming back to the syllabus, Indian form of government and governance, they have mentioned this word constitution. Don't worry, we don't have to study the entire constitution. Only few articles, select articles need to be studied. You do not need to study the entire constitution. First thing. Then the political system in the country, the Panchayati Raj, a very, very important topic. Though not so much for the prelims, but extremely important for the main examination. Then public policies, right? And also rights issues. Rights issues relate to fundamental rights. So you will see that sometimes questions are asked, right to marry is a part of which fundamental right? So, or right to privacy is a part of which fundamental right? So, all these questions relate to rights issues. Very easy, very simple. So, that is with respect to the prelims syllabus. Now, coming to the main examination. So, the main examination has two parts. One is the subjective paper, and the other is the interview. So normally, in a layman's term, we refer to the subjective paper as the main examination. But strictly speaking, the main examination comprises of both the subjective paper and the personal interview. So, the subjective paper and its importance, this here is marks, and this of course is the year. So which year, how many marks? Total marks in GS paper 2 are 250. It also comprises of questions from governance, social justice, and IR. So in total, you will find that anywhere from around 85, 90 to 100, 110 marks worth questions are asked from polity and constitution. And I have removed questions on governance. This means questions on bodies like CBI, bodies like Lokpal, corruption, right? RTI, NHRC, all these have not been included. If you include those, right? If you include those, then it would cross, say, 140, 50 marks. Now, in 2013, we had 80 marks worth questions being asked from polity. In 2014, 75 marks, 2015, 75 marks, right? In the recent times, we have seen there are cases like in 2019, 115 marks questions were asked from polity. In fact, even last time, we had 105 marks worth questions being asked from polity. So you can have an estimate that anywhere between 100 or 90 to 110 marks worth questions can be expected from polity and constitution. Simple. Okay. So this is the importance in mains, and very, very crucial. When it comes to the syllabus of mains, here UPSC thankfully has elaborated on what is the expectation. So unlike in the prelim examination where the syllabus is not detailed, the main examination syllabus is quite detailed. So, as far as the main exam is concerned, you can see here Indian Constitution, historical underpinnings. So, this is a topic best left for coverage in your history classes on all the Councils Act and Government of India Acts and all that will be covered in your history classes. Then, evolution, the features of the Constitution, amendments. Interestingly, this rule book that you see, the fundamental law of the land, the Indian Constitution, this rule book can be modified, can be amended, can be improved. So we call this a living document. It's alive, it keeps on growing, it's organic in nature. So amendments are allowed, and amendments are modifications. So, how many modifications have been made so far? So far, since independence, 105. Now, does it mean that we have to study all 105? Of course not. As and when the time comes, we'll discuss the important amendments, and that should suffice. Nothing more, nothing less. Then, look at this. They themselves are clearly saying significant provisions, meaning the important provisions of the Constitution. Not every article is important. And of course, something which is referred to as the basic structure. Basic structure. Now, very briefly, we just saw that Constitution can be modified, can be amended. But can we amend everything? Can we modify the Constitution to say that from now on, India is no longer a democracy? Narendra Modi is the new king. Can this be done? Or Rahul Gandhi is a new prince? Can this be done? No, this cannot be done. Certain elements can never be modified. Those elements are known as basic structure. The most essential features which can never be modified are a part of what we call the basic structure. So more on this when we study fundamental rights, article 13. Then the functions, the responsibilities of the union and the states, the issues, the challenges pertaining to, look at this word here, federal structure, pertaining to the federal structure. What is the meaning of this word federal? What is this federal structure? Federal refers to a type of government which is characterized by both central government and a state government. This is what is federal. So, a type of government where we have central and state governments. We refer to it as division of power between center and the states. Clear? Division of power. Now, apart from this, we also have to see devolution, devolution, giving up these powers, devolving the powers and the finances up to the local level. What is this word local level? This word local level refers to panchayats. So whenever you find this word local level, the reference is to bodies like panchayats and bodies like municipalities. Okay, panchayats and municipalities. And this topic, let me just point it out here for your comprehensive understanding, is an extremely important topic. Please expect a question in all likelihood from this topic. It's like almost a guarantee that a question from panchayats and municipalities, the local self governance, will be asked. So when we study this, extreme focus is required under this topic. Then separation of powers, division of power, center and states, separation of power between various organs. So what are these organs that we are referring to? These organs are L, E, J: legislature, executive, judiciary. Legislature, executive, and judiciary. Three organs. And of course, the dispute redressal mechanisms and the institutions. Okay. Then the parliament, the state legislatures, right? We have to study them. Then the structure, their functioning, their conduct of business, how are things conducted within the house, within the parliament, within the state legislatures, their powers, their privileges, and if at all any issues. I say if at all, but we know there are issues, so we'll discuss those elements as well. If at all there are any issues that arise out of the functioning of the parliament. Then the structure, the organization of and the functioning of the executive in the country, executive, as well as the judiciary, the ministries, departments of the government, etc. And let me just point this out again. This topic that you see here, judiciary, is extremely important, especially nowadays, both for prelims and main examination. So please focus on this topic. This topic is important both for prelims and for the main examination. Basically, under judiciary also, there is an almost guarantee of a question being asked, especially from a topic which relates to activism. Activism, PIL, overreach, etc. So, this is a topic which again would result in a guaranteed question, right? So we'll have to focus on judiciary as well. It'll take around anywhere from 6 to 8 hours for us to finish judiciary, and we'll under judiciary be studying about the Supreme Court, the High Court, the lower courts, the subordinate courts, their issues, pendency of cases, all such things will be covered. Okay. Then now in our country we all know that there is something called periodic elections. Every 5 years, the people get the power to vote the incumbent sitting government. Current government is called incumbent, INCUMBENT. So the incumbent government can be voted out, right? And we can change the elected representatives. But to govern this election process, the entire conduct of elections, there is a law, or rather two laws, same name but different years. And that law is the Representation of People's Act. 1950 and 1951. So one law is of 1950, the other law is of 1951. Two laws. Okay. Now, the appointment to various constitutional posts, powers, functions, and the responsibilities of various constitutional bodies is also something we'll be covering. So here you can expect a discussion on bodies like National Commission for Scheduled Castes, Scheduled Tribes, Backward Classes, Election Commission of India, Finance Commission, etc. Clear? And then statutory, regulatory, and various quasi judicial. Quasi judicial. What is quasi? Semi, partially judicial bodies. So here the reference to of quasi judicial is to bodies which are known as what? Tribunals. Clear? Tribunals. So we'll be studying about tribunals as well, quasi judicial bodies. That's it. This is the syllabus of UPSC as far as polity and constitution is concerned. So, lot of topics like say CBI, Lokpal, CVC, CAG, all such topics, they will be covered under a separate module, governance. Clear? Deepak, what is tribunals? That's why this is just a brief introduction. Let's discuss what are tribunals when we study judiciary. So once we discuss judiciary, you'll have an understanding of what is judiciary, and then we'll discuss on what are these quasi semi-judicial bodies. Bodies which have the powers of judiciary, but not all the powers. Partially judicial bodies. They perform almost similar functions, and hence they are called semi-judicial. One such example is tribunals. Okay, that's it. We are done with the syllabus of UPSC. Just to once again summarize, what exactly is the requirement and what exactly is the expectation? First point, we'll have to study the Indian Constitution. Okay, of course, not the entire Constitution, only the important provisions, important articles. I will tell you after every module that we cover what articles are important. And my expectation will be that you read those articles from the Constitution on your own. Okay. Number two, we also need to study some important laws. Laws are also called statutes. What is statute? Statute is just a stylish way of saying law. It's the same thing. Statute or law. Synonyms. Okay. Use law, or if you want to impress somebody, use statute. Simple. Then sometimes government's orders on certain things, guidelines, rules, regulations also become important. So, as and when required, we will also focus on executive orders, notifications, etc. Executive refers to government. Beyond this, a topic which has become very important in recent times is the judiciary. So, Supreme Court, judgments, and not just judgments. Sometimes Supreme Court's orders are also important. Supreme Court's directives and sometimes Supreme Court's observations. If Supreme Court makes an observation also in the court, you have seen UPSC asking a question on that observation. So, in your newspaper, when you find Supreme Court saying something, that could be of importance. So, our attention should immediately go towards that particular topic. That's the point. And then something which is not mentioned anywhere but is yet done in the country: conventions. What is a convention? Conventions are customary ways of doing things which have the same force as that of law. That's called convention. Conventions or custom or something which is a tradition, something which is in practice, though you may not find this mentioned in the law anywhere. As I always say, a very famous convention example, very popular convention is this. Now, you all know that in your state there's a person called governor. Governor, the head of your state. Yes or no? Governor. Every state has a governor. Sometimes two or more states can share a governor, but your state has to have a governor. If you observe all the people here, whichever state you belong to, if you observe the governor of your state, say Kerala, Arif Muhammad Khan, he belongs to UP, right? You go to UP. In UP, the governor is Anandi Ben Patel. She belongs to Gujarat. You go to Gujarat. Acharya Devrat belongs to Haryana. You go to Haryana. B. Dattatreya, you go to, and he belongs to Telangana. You keep on moving across the country. Go to any state. Tamil Nadu, R.N. Ravi belongs to Bihar. Fagu Chauhan belongs to UP. Right? Go to Rajasthan. Kalraj Mishra belongs to UP. You go to any state, you will find that the governor of that state is always an outsider. This is not mentioned anywhere. No law says this. No article says this. The constitution only says that in case you want to be a governor, the eligibility criteria under Article 157 is that you need to be a citizen of this country and you also need to have the age. That's it. But governors are always appointed from outside the state. That's a standard provision across the country. Nowhere mentioned, but always followed. Practice, custom, right? And this custom has never been broken except once. So, once in 1967, there was a governor called Venkat Vishwanath. He was the governor of Kerala and he actually belonged to Kerala. Even though he was an IS officer and he was later on posted as an IS in his entire career in Madhya Pradesh, MP Carter, but still he belonged to Kerala and he was made the governor in Kerala. So that's the only point where this convention was broken, but otherwise it has always been followed. Anyway, so that is all as far as our syllabus is concerned. Now coming to the book list, right? Now please understand, when it comes to the book list, I'll be mentioning it here. Mohammed, why governors belong to other states? We'll discuss this later on, but just to briefly tell you, the idea is that outsiders will have little interest in the local politics, right? Outsiders will have little interest in local politics, and that is why they will not interfere with the chief minister's functioning, and hence outsiders are appointed as governors. And Siva, sir, this 26 days polity syllabus, it's way more, 26 days. This is just a weekend class. So we'll only be having classes on Saturday and Sunday. And this is going to be more than enough. Way more than what is actually required. Right? So we'll have comprehensive discussion on every topic and syllabus will be covered thoroughly. Right? So don't worry on that. Ignore all these issues. These are petty issues. Syllabus will be covered or not. It will be covered. Don't worry. Right? Now, please focus on this book list, full attention here for some time, because this question keeps on coming again and again, and you feel I'll give you a different answer later on. No, my answer will remain the same. So why not here right now? Okay. So these two books are NCRT books for class 9th and class 10th. Democratic Politics, Part 1 and Part 2. Now, these two books are not important, not at all important. But if somebody here is in their class 11th standard, class 12th standard, 9th standard, 10th standard, all those students, they may read this book. But anybody who is preparing for 2024, 2025, 2026, please don't read this book. Are we clear on this? This book is too basic, right? You will not be able to derive or extract any useful information which you already don't know. Ignore this. Okay. Then, next two books are the class 11th books. Now, as far as these two books are concerned, they are again NCRT books. But here, a slight modification in our understanding. One book from these two is extremely important. Not extremely important, it's a must read. This book, Political Theory. I'll write it here. It's a must read book. You have to read this book. And when I say read something, I mean to say 4 to 5 times. Don't read it once and throw it away. It's done. It's not done. We have to read these things 4 to 5 times. So this book has to be read by every aspirant. There are 10 chapters in this book. Please read all the chapters. Chapters are named like, of course, you have introduction. Then you have freedom, equality, social justice, topics like rights, citizenship, nationalism, secularism, then peace, development. So all these topics. This book will give you a lot of fodder material for your main examination. Okay. As far as the second book is concerned, Indian Constitution at Work, class 11th. Now, this is a book which can be skipped. Can be skipped. People preparing for 2024 and 2025, don't read it. Not required. Because anyway, we will be covering this book only, but in way more detail. You already have Lakshmikant, which covers information mentioned here in way more detail. So this is just a brief of that book only. So may not be of great help. But if somebody here has no background of polity and seemingly is not able to understand anything what is going on, you may read this book. But I am not saying must read. It is optional completely. Right? I'm not saying don't only for people who preparing in 24 and 25. We don't have time to waste on books like these. So I hope my instruction is clear. Okay. uh, Gaurav, weightage of polity in prelims and mains. I think you joined late. We've already discussed that. So you can just see the slides below before, and we have covered that. What's the weightage of polity in prelims and mains? Kumkum means not for prelims. One more point I'd like to mention to everybody here. Please don't start with a negative loser mindset firstly. That I have to prepare for prelims. Firstly, let me clear prelims. Then we'll see what happens in mains. No, no, no. Please. Start with a winning approach. We will always prepare for main examination. That should be the preparation strategy. We never prepare for prelims. The focus is always on main examination. Prelims preparation is something which is a byproduct of the mains preparation. When you prepare for mains, you automatically are preparing for prelims. And before the examination, for 3 to 4 months, we focus extensively and exclusively for prelims. That's it. Nothing else. So please, mains preparation. Uh, Writing points not visible. Nandishappa. So, see, guys, for some of you, if writing is not visible, voice is not coming, uh, it is more likely that the issue is from your end. So, refresh it. More likely. Okay. Shushti, as I said, just try to get this done. It could be from your end. 1412. I'm not sure what this 14 is. It your birthday? 14th of December. Anyway, 1412. We need to study governance separately. It is not a part of polity here. Uh, Munigal, I will come to this shortly. Babatosh, don't fall prey to all this rumor. Okay? Please. Yes, Bhumi, classes will be held on Saturday and Sunday. No Deep Shikha, no difference whatsoever. It's the same thing, same content, but different time. Uh, Again, as I said, if there is any issue with respect to writing not visible, I am not visible, some magical voices coming, etc., refresh once. Now, just to showcase the mains question in 2019. This question was asked in 2019. What can France learn from the Indian constitution's approach to secularism? The question says, what can France learn from Indian constitution's approach to secularism? Of course, I don't expect you to understand comprehensively and give me an answer. My point of showing you this question, which came in the main examination, is that this question comes from and is directly picked up from the NCRT, Political Theory, Chapter 8. If you ever look into Chapter 8, you will find that there's a chapter which heads secularism, NCRT class 11. And this chapter is actually directly mentioning us what is the difference between the Indian model of secularism and the Western model of secularism. France, USA, all these are symbolic of the Western model of secularism. Right? Okay. So that's there. Now, what is secularism? What is India? What is France? Details later on. My intention was to just show you that this book is important. Please read this book. So, every weekend on Sunday, that is today, I'll give you the weekly target of what you should cover in the next 5 days. If people here have not made their plan or timetable, we can follow that, or else you can have your own timetable also. Okay. Now, beyond these NCRTs, one book that you must study is Lakshmikant. Of course, very important, very popular. Now, a small caveat attached here. This book need not be studied comprehensively. Some chapters are to be covered under governance, and some chapters are to be skipped completely. And I will be covering everything in the PPTs, in fact, slightly beyond what is there in the books, in the PPTs. Nevertheless, if you still feel the need to read a book I will, after every module and before also, will tell you this is the chapter in Lakshmikant. So you can read that chapter as well in case you want. Selective reading. And not just that, every civil services aspirant, in fact, every Indian citizen, should also have a copy of the Indian Constitution, right? And Constitution of India, bare acts. Bare acts meaning just the articles mentioned. There are various publications. You can Google search or go on Amazon, Flipkart, online or offline markets to purchase any of these books. I have no affiliation to these publishers. They're not paying me a single penny for suggesting their book. It's your choice. And if somebody says, no, sir, I don't want to waste a single penny, tell me, is there some free option? Yes, there is an option. You can log in, go to Google search and type Constitution of India PDF, and you will get the legislative website, government's website, legislative dot gov dot in, and here you will be able to address or see all the various languages in which the Indian Constitution's copy is available. Download any language you wish to: English, Hindi, Tamil, Telugu, Kannada, whatever language you want, download it and keep it. Why I say so is whenever we are done with a topic, I will tell you which articles are important and I would want you to read those articles from the Constitution. You know the meaning already, you can read it on your own. So, this is with respect to the book list. Okay. Now see, just to point this out, couple of years back there was a question asked in the prelim examination. Look at this. With reference to Gucci, sometimes mentioned in the news, consider the following statements: it's a fungus, it grows in some Himalayan forest area, blah blah blah, all that is mentioned. Now look at this Instagram handle: the rarest and the yummiest Gucci, the most expensive mushrooms, only found in Himalayas. Can you observe this? It seems like this question in UPSC was taken from Instagram. Now, should we incorporate Instagram also in our preparation? Now, that is something I would leave for you to address. I am not going to suggest Instagram as a part of book list. Simple. Okay, so that's there. Vaibhavi, the book that you are referring to is this Lakshmikant only, but the cover is different, right? So this is a cover which is there for market, and that you have is a specific one with same content but meant for Byju's only. So that cover is different. Okay. So again, just to summarize everything, and this will be the final book list and reference. So please follow properly what I am saying right now. For everybody, first up, extremely important, class PPTs. Now, if somebody here wants to make their own class notes, feel free, but it is not needed. I'll be writing everything on the slides, everything. But still, if somebody wants to make some running notes in the class, you are free. Who is stopping you? Somebody wants to make notes so that they are attentive, they don't sleep, feel free. But if you don't want to, no harm, no foul. I will be writing everything on the slides. And at the end, you'll be getting the annotations. You can download them and read them. Clear? class PPTs. Second thing is the copy of Constitution of India. Whether a book or PDF, it's up to you. Then political theory. Then Lakshmikant. Once these four are covered, see the Indian Constitution at Work, NCRT. It is totally up to you. It's your choice. I am neither denying nor approving. It's your choice. If you want to read, read it. If you don't read, you are losing nothing. Simple, right? So it's your choice. So people preparing for 2026 onwards also, it's an option for you. If you want to read it, read it. I hope I am clear now. Okay. And number 5, Sherlin and Siva. Guys, did you just join? Because I have clearly mentioned all these books here. Lakshmi Kant, Constitution of India, right? Political theory. So please refrain from asking such things. It reflects that you're not paying attention. So that yeah, just because you're not in the class, I can't see you, whether you're sleeping, watching TV, etc. Focus, please. At least the first class you can focus, right? Because this is a general discussion. And then current affairs, a very very critical element, especially in certain GS papers like paper 2 and paper 3, is current affairs. Now, for current affairs, my suggestion, my suggestion, somebody else can give a different suggestion. You may uh, have your own way of studying. It's totally subjective. Don't hold a gun at my face that no, somebody else said this, you are saying this. I think you are mature enough, right, to understand that this is a suggestion, etc. I hope I'm dealing with people who are going to be future civil servants, so that maturity is uh, expected. In current affairs, one thing is newspaper. Now, newspaper, not any newspaper. Don't go and pick up Times of India. It's an interesting newspaper, fun read. News like eat tomatoes, become more red, right? Eat that, grow taller, or this person got ran away with that person. That kind of news is there. It is of no concern to us, right? UPS will not ask you all these details. So prefer reading the Hindu or Indian Express. Both of these are equally good. Now, of course, in the recent times, we have seen that UPSCs has started asking questions from the Indian Express. But nevertheless, Indian Express is a very good newspaper. It has very good articles, right? So, in case you want to read Indian Express, no problem at all. Okay. Now, second thing is the monthly magazine. This monthly magazine, which comes out every month, is a compilation of the current affairs of the previous year, previous month. So this means if this is August, you have the monthly magazine of July available on the website online. Okay, monthly magazine. This must be read, mandatory. Okay. Beyond this, one more thing that you need to do is to read. There are two magazines, Yojana and Kurukshetra. Okay. These are two magazines, booklets, around 60 odd pages. Don't panic. You don't have to read the pages, all the pages. You just have to read compilation, gist, summary. gist. These two things will be available to you on the Byju's website. Okay, so when you go to the Byju's website, I expect that you'll be able to at least search for these two things on the website, right? So these two are available there. Now, what you can do, just one suggestion from my side for those who have not started preparing, every day devote 1 hour, 1 hour every day to monthly magazine. Find out a time, irrespective of good days, bad days. You're feeling nice, not feeling nice. There's a party, don't care. Family function, don't care. 1 hour must be devoted to reading the monthly magazine daily. And each monthly magazine must be read at least 3 times. 3 times. Okay. Secondly, I mean, this 1 hour has to be precious. If you're out on a date with somebody, tell your date, please wait. Go back home, read the magazine, then come back. That's how important this 1 hour has to be to you. Always focus on this 1 hour that you have. And how many pages? Depends. Ideally, try to study at least 8 to 10 pages, but 6, 7, 8, any number of pages is not important. This has to be duty. Second is Yojana Kurukshetra. What you can do, Yojana on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, and Kurukshetra on Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday. Again, 1 hour. That's it. Now, should you now read the newspaper? See, newspaper is actually optional, frankly. If somebody here does not want to, no problem. But even if you don't read the newspaper, you must read editorial. So in the newspaper, in the middle pages, you will find editorials, op-ed, etc., articles written. You can selectively read those articles. This should be read. Okay, very, very important. This is not to give you some kind of current information, right? But this is to improve your answer writing skills, give structure to your answer, improve the usage of words, vocabulary, how to begin an argument, how to close your answers, what could be an appropriate conclusion, introduction, all such things. Okay, so that's it. Editorials will be mentioned in the newspaper. Please at least open the newspaper first. Try to find out. In the middle pages, you will see the articles which are different from news items. Those are called editorials. Okay, articles written by the people there. This is it. Done. Nothing beyond this is required. The only three things which are required apart from this: number one, revision; number two, PYQ. What is PYQ? Previous year questions, both for prelims and for mains. For prelims, as long as you can go back, but for mains, 2013 onwards, meaning 2013 and after 2013, because the syllabus was changed. And in the first class, that is today, we won't be seeing any mains question, but if any previous year question prelims has come, we'll solve that question along with the topic only. And from the next class onwards, next class, that is next weekend, on Sunday, at the last half an hour, I will be explaining to you how to write answers. Till then, don't write polity answers. Please have patience. And then we'll also start incorporating the mains questions as and when they are asked in the examination under the relevant topics. So most prelims and mains questions will be covered in the class only. You have your tablets where all these questions are recorded as well. So please view those recordings and write answers, send them to the target IS for evaluation. Clear? That's it. And number three, mock tests. Please do not skip on any class test, mock test, etc. It must be attended, must be taken. That's it. If you are able to do this, you will have to trust me on this, that there is no stopping you from scoring, at least for the polity section, more than 60-65% marks. More than 60-65% marks. That's a guarantee. But will you be doing this regularly and will you follow it? That's totally up to you. Okay? And every week when we begin our class on Saturday and on Sunday, the first few minutes, around 15-20 minutes, will be spent on some MCQs. I'll show you slides and we'll mark MCQs, and we'll also see who is the topper. So that will also be there from my side, MCQ practice every day when we take the class. So not today, of course, the first class, from next Saturday onwards, 10 questions every day. Clear? That's it. Nothing beyond this. Yes, Prem, of course. As I said, if somebody wants to take a printout on the white background and make their own notes, feel free. If somebody does not want to, I am already writing things here. Options. Mock tests, the weekly tests that will be held, you will find all the information on the portal itself. Now, one more thing. When it comes to current affairs, monthly magazine, this. For those who are attempt year is 2025 or 2024, then you have to study current affairs from January 23 to April 24. If your attempt year is in 2026, for example, January 25 to April 26. Okay. So just an example of what is to be done. So all those people who are attempting the examination in 25 or later, you can read the monthly magazine. You should read the monthly magazine. Don't revise maybe 4-5 times. Read once or twice. That's okay. But this Yojana Kurukshetra is for everybody. Whether you're preparing for 10 years later also. This is mandatory. Okay? Not this. Munigal, sir, monthly magazine are released monthly once. You get a booklet. So that is why when you ask these questions, at least take the effort to download the magazine first and see whether your question is logical or not. That magazine has 170-80 pages. You are reading only 7-8 pages one day. There are 30 days in a week, in a month. So plus 3 times revision. Understand it, please. Be serious. Mock test on class test on which day, that information will be available on your portal, so you can get that information from there. I hope the doubts have been addressed. This is all that I have to say as far as the book list is concerned. Nothing beyond this is required. If somebody has D.D. Basu, Subhash Kashyap, etc., that they heard was an amazing book, sell it. Sell it to somebody else, telling them it's a very good book, because those books are not required. Simple. Apart from this, you can keep on asking me questions, sir. Is that important? Is this important? Is that important? And we can keep on discussing this only. The entire day will be gone in discussing this only. This is what is important from my side. In case you want to add something because of your FOMO, fear of missing out, it's your personal problem, right? People normally ask me, sir, what am I doing wrong? This is what you're doing wrong. When you're being told, follow this, you follow this, right? Okay. Now, uh, since we are done with all the basic information, we'll now begin with some basics, so that the entire class at least is on board with some basic terms that we need to know. Very general, very simple, very easy. First up is this rule book that you call the Constitution. So, this rule book, the fundamental law of the land, is divided into various parts, like your standard books also, right? School books, etc., are also divided into various parts. Same thing with this rule book also. This book is divided into various parts. This is a book, various parts. Part 1, part 2, part 3, part 4, etc. So this book has various parts. How many parts? So originally 22 parts were there. So part 1 deals with a different kind of topic. Part 2 deals with a different kind of topic. So part 1 has union and territory. Part 2 has citizenship. Part 3 has fundamental rights. Part 4 has DPSP, so on and so forth. Currently, that is as of now, we have 25 parts in the Constitution. Meaning, this rule book is divided into 25 parts. Now, under every part, there are some chapters. Now, chapters may be there, sometimes chapters may not be there. So, chapters are not important for us to know. Under those chapters, the provisions of the Constitution are called articles. Let's see. See, this is part 5. Part 5 deals with union, center. It has 5 chapters. Chapter is not important. Chapter 1 is the executive. Chapter 2 is the legislature. Chapter 3 is ordinances. Chapter 4 is judiciary. Chapter 5 is CAG. 5 chapters. Under those chapters are these numbers. They are known as what? Articles. Provisions of the Constitution. One more thing. Uh, from now onwards, I will be using this symbol to represent the Constitution. So please don't be confused and don't use this in the examination. This is just for the class to save our time. Clear? So, Article 52. How many articles? Originally, we had 395 articles. Now we have around 470 odd articles. Then, under every article, you will find there are some clauses, meaning some subpoints. Like when you write a point and you want to write something under the point, it's called a subpoint. So, like this is Article 53. This is a clause. Clause 1. Clause 2. So we say Article 53, Clause 2. Sometimes within a clause there is one more clause that's called a subclause. That's also there. Not every article has a clause. For example, this Article 52, it's just one line, no subpoint. Some articles can have clauses, other articles may not have clauses. Lastly, towards the end of the Constitution, last, last, there are some tables, lists, schedules. Schedules. These schedules are basically like references, footnotes, postscript. Like in your books, towards the end, you have all the references. Same thing, schedules. Schedules are like footnotes, references, etc., which will give us a better understanding of the provisions of the Constitution. As and when the schedules come, we'll discuss and you can better understand what are these schedules. Originally we had 8 schedules and now we have 12 schedules. One more thing, when it comes to these schedules, when it comes to the Constitution, as I said earlier also, that this rule book can be modified, and you all agree that yes, it can be modified. But the question is that this book has been modified so many times. How do we denote the modification? We denote any amendment or modification through a number. So, if this constitution has been amended, amendments are mentioned like this: the number of times, and we write Amendment Act, and then we write the year. For example, when I say 42nd Amendment Act 1976, this refers to the Indian Constitution being amended the 42nd time. First time, second time, third time, 42nd time. Clear? So this is, whenever you find such things, it refers to the Indian Constitution being amended. Clear? So basic information. Next thing is law, statute. Now, what exactly is a law? Those proposals which have been approved by the legislature and now are implemented in the country are laws. So, how does this function? Firstly, we begin with what? We begin with a proposal. We start with a proposal in the parliament, also called a bill. Now, this proposal is then approved by our MPs. And this proposal, once passed or approved, becomes an act. Act. Now, this act is not applicable on people. No, no, no. You have to publish this act somewhere officially for everybody to see. This is called notification, or we are basically publishing it. Once this act is published, then this act becomes a law. Now, where is this act published? This notification is done here. Where? Gazette of India. This is government's official magazine. Think of it as government's official magazine. Okay? This magazine is published weekly. Apart from this, you can also access this magazine online. There's a website, e-gazette. So it's also available online where it is updated daily. Clear? This is published by the Department of Publication under the Ministry of Housing and Urban Affairs. Clear? This is all about laws. Laws which are not the constitution. Of course, constitution is also a law, but it's the most fundamental law. These are other laws. Now, moving on to types of bodies. Types of bodies. We have three types of bodies. Number one, very basic, constitutional bodies. What are these bodies? As the name suggests, bodies which are mentioned in the constitution. Mentioned in the constitution. Constitutional bodies. Such bodies will have an article in the Indian constitution, like election commission. Election commission is mentioned under article 324. UPSC, your body, mentioned under article 315. Finance commission, article 280. NCSC, National Commission for Scheduled Castes. This is article 338. NCST, National Commission for Scheduled Tribes, 338A. NCBC, National Commission for Scheduled or Backward Classes, 338B. Don't worry on these articles and all. We'll know all of them in future. Then sometimes some bodies are not mentioned in the constitution. They are created, they are established by an act of legislature, by the legislature. Those are called statutory legal bodies. They are created or established by legislature, like Lokpal. So in your governance classes, you'll be studying about all these bodies. Lokpal is a body which is formed through a law called Lokpal and Lokayukt Act of 2013. So this body was created in the year 2013. Or CVC, the Central Vigilance Commission, under CVC Act 2003. Or CIC, the Central Information Commission. This body was formed under a law called RTI Act in 2005. NHRC, formed under the law called TPHRA 1993. NCW, the National Commission for Women, formed in 1992. Years not important, don't worry. National Commission for Minorities, 92. Just giving examples of statutory bodies. Then sometimes there are some bodies which are formed by the government. These bodies are created by executive order. Government creates these bodies. They can create, they can abolish. Very easy. Niti Aayog, formed in 2015. uh, Ministries, all the ministries you see are executive bodies. Today, the government wants to create a new ministry, temple ministry. It can create one, no problem. NDC, National Development Council, a body formed by the government in 1952. CBI, the Central Bureau of Investigation, the body that is used by the central government to harass everybody, I mean, to conduct investigations, is the CBI, formed in 1963. Executive body, simple, right? So, constitutional, statutory, executive. Next is a question. Please, let's see how many of you can solve this question. A question asked this year only. Which of them are constitutional bodies? Let's see. So, this will be the format. Don't write your answer. I will open the poll and then you can mark your answer in the poll. Okay? And the poll will run for a minute. That would be sufficient. Clear? Mark your answer, please. Okay. So, why did others not attempt the answer? A lot of you got this correct. Great. The National Commission for Backward Classes. I just mentioned in the previous slide that this is a constitutional body. So, of course, this is correct. This is correct. No problem. NHRC, of course, is mentioned here. So, it is a statutory body, not a constitutional body. Wrong. So, NHRC is not a constitutional body. Now, Law Commission. This is actually not a constitutional body. And the National Consumer Dispute Redressal Commission, that is actually a statutory body formed under the Consumer Protection Act. In 1988, this body was formed. So all these three are not constitutional bodies, only one, and hence only one is the right answer. Okay, don't worry. These are things that you'll get to know slowly and steadily. Clear on this? Everyone? Okay. Now moving on. Three organs of the state. We all know that the state has three organs. Number one, legislature. The state here refers to not the states, the country, nation state, the entire country. Three organs. Any structure of governance. One is a legislature. What is the task of legislature? I'm sure you all know. The task of legislature, you will say, is, sir, implement the laws. Make laws. To make laws. Now, our laws have been made, but the MPs, members, politicians who make these laws, innocent people, they don't understand these laws. So, we need a judiciary. And what's the task of judiciary? The judiciary's task is to help us understand those laws. interpret the laws. Clear? So it is judiciary's task to interpret the laws. And laws, what are laws? Judiciary says a law is what the judge says it is. That's it. If the judge says this is the meaning of the law, that's the meaning of the law. Nothing else matters. So judges are the final authority to interpret the meaning of the law. Correct or incorrect, that does not matter. What they say is the law. Simple. I'll solve this question. Very easy. I'll give you 30 seconds to mark an answer here. Let's see how many of you get this correct. A lot of you got this correct. Great. Who or which of the following is the custodian, the caretaker, the guardian of the Indian Constitution? Custodian or the guardian? Who is that person? Of course, the Supreme Court of India. Supreme Court of India is the custodian and guardian, the final interpreter of laws in the country. So even though the parliament makes the laws, the judiciary gets to decide what's the meaning of the law. Are we clear on this? And now the third organ. Third organ is of course the executive. Now any innocent aspirant will say, sir, executive means what? Task is to implement the law. Very nice, very sweet. But think of it. Does the executive not decide the policies in the country? Does the executive not initiate proposals in the House? Does the executive not maintain law and order? Does the executive not promote economic and social welfare? Does the executive not direct foreign policy? Each and everything in this country is being done by the executive. So, Supreme Court has also accepted it. In 1955, there was a court case called the Ram Javaya Kapoor case. In that case, Supreme Court said that if you take away the legislative power, making laws, and judicial functions to interpret laws, every other function in this country that remains is an executive function. Government, almighty, all powerful, does everything in the country. So executive's task is not just limited to implementing laws. It, number one, determines the policies. Number two, executes the policies. Number three, it initiates laws. Number four, maintaining law and order. Then promoting economic and social welfare, and also directing foreign policy. Everything is being done by the executive. And that's why he said that Supreme Court had said in this judgment, Ram Javaya Kapoor, 1955. This was a judgment. So we'll mention judgments like this: name of the case, and then the year in which the judgment came out. So when I mention like this, understand immediately that there is some court case and the judgment came out. So Supreme Court says that residual of governmental functions, meaning remaining government functions that remain when judicial and legislative functions are taken away. And what is that? This is what is a reference to executive functions. Clear? So from now onwards, we won't say executive implements laws. We'll mention these things, right? Implements laws is for noobs. You are legends. Legends use these things. Okay. So, three organs, separation of powers. Next thing is the division of power. So we were just discussing earlier that India is a federal country, and here we have center and states, and power is divided. All that was mentioned. So somewhere it has to be clearly mentioned. Simple question to you: can Tamil Nadu government have its own army? Tell me, yes or no. Can Tamil Nadu government have its own army? Of course not. Can UP start its own currency? Can Uttar Pradesh have its own currency? Yes or no? Of course not. So, if you think of it, there are some things where only the center has the power to regulate, control, etc. Right? Then there are some things where states are normally given the power, like say police functions, public order maintenance, etc., maintaining prisons. And then there are some things where both have the powers. So we have to mention this clearly to avoid any confusion and fights in future. There should be some list that center, this is a list of all the topics you enjoy power. States, this is list of all topics you enjoy power. And this is third list where center state both can enjoy powers. So those lists refer to the spatial, from the word space, from the word domain. And this is what is the what? Division of power. LEJ separation, center state division. So we have this division mentioned under Article 246. This article says at C, if you want to know which all topics the center can make laws, please go to towards the end of the constitution, there is a schedule called Schedule 7. Please refer to that. And you can see here, see, Schedule 7, seventh schedule. A reference to Article 246 is given here. 3 lists. First list is called List 1, Union List. Defense, armed forces, currency, banking. Second list, state list, public order, police, prisons, etc. And third list is a concurrent list, criminal law, criminal procedure, CRPC, IPC, these things. So, union list, it contains 98 topics. We call these topics as entries. 98 entries on which Parliament has exclusive power. Mind you, Parliament has exclusive power to what? Make laws. Then state list. Now this state list has 59 topics. 59 topics, or now you know, these 59 topics are known as entries. Normally, state legislature has the power to make laws on these matters. Normally. Okay. Normal. And then we have the concurrent list, which has 52 topics or 52 entries where both can make laws. But center has overriding power. Center will have more power compared to states if there is any conflict. Let's say a law is made by both the center and states, then central law will prevail. 3 lists. Simple. Okay. Now, uh, education, for example, is under the concurrent list. Both center and states can make laws. One more thing, all these topics were framed in 1950, 1960, etc. But there were some topics which are not mentioned in any list. Cryptocurrency, artificial intelligence. If there is any topic which is not mentioned in any list, we call that topic residuary power. Okay. Residuary subjects or topics. These are not mentioned in any list. And on these topics, who has the power to make laws? Center. Parliament has the power to make laws. This is as per Article 248 of the Indian Constitution. Okay. That's it. Spatial distribution of functions. Sir, can you please take reference of Delhi Ordinance Bill? Delhi Ordinance is no longer Ordinance Bill. It's neither ordinance nor bill. It's now an act. But anyway, that will not fit here because Delhi is not a state, right? We don't need to remember all these entries. It is not possible only. Please don't remember. But some basic things you will get to know slowly and steadily. For example, now police, public order, prisons, etc. are a part of state list. So that's it. Difference between ordinance and bill not required right now. Don't worry. Hopefully today we'll discuss what is an ordinance and then you'll have clarity on what is ordinance. Don't worry at all right now. I will not leave topics and run away. Just have patience. So if you can focus on what is being taught currently, it will be amazing, right? All the doubts will be addressed as and when the time comes. Otherwise, there will be disruption in the flow. Now, executive. Executive in the country are of two kinds: permanent and political. So, you are a part of permanent executive because permanent executive refers to what? Civil servants. Permanent executive. Political executive is what is temporary in nature, and that's what you see here. At the union level, you have at the top the president, then vice president, then prime minister, then along with the prime minister, his entire group of ministers, council of ministers, and then there is also a person called attorney general of India. Who is an attorney general? Discussion later on. Just briefly, attorney general is the government's lawyer. These five people are part of the union executive, central executive. Okay. Then at the state level, we have people. At the top, every state has a person called governor. Then below the governor, we have vice governors. Yes or no? Tell me. Some states have vice governors. Yes or no? Writing yes. Which state has vice governor? There is nothing called vice governor. Below governor, directly we have the what? Chief minister. There is nothing called vice governor. Please don't fall prey for all these things. Then at the state level also we have council of ministers, and finally, just like we have the lawyer for the center, we have a lawyer for the state government also. That person is called advocate general. Clear? Union states. So this is with respect to the executive, the political executive. Now coming to the legislature, meaning the body which makes laws. So what's this legislature all about? At the central level, we have two houses. We call this the parliament. Now, parliament also comprises of the president, but the two houses at the central level are which two houses? The House of People, House of People, and the Council of States. House of People is called the Lok Sabha. Council of States is called the Rajya Sabha. Okay. Now, in these houses, we have some very innocent people, nice, great, peace loving people. These people are called MPs, members of parliament. At the state level, again, we have one house in every state. This house is called Legislative Assembly, Vidhan Sabha. This is there in all the states. At the level of few states, 6 states to be exact, there is a house called Legislative Council, Vidhan Parishad. Members, this at the state level, it is known as the state legislature. Now, these people here are known as, members here are called MLA, members of Legislative Assembly, and these people are MLCs, members of Legislative Council. Okay, difference. So this is the difference. One more thing, just to clarify here. These 6 states which have a council. Now, why only these states have councils, etc.? Discussion later on. But these 6 states are Andhra Pradesh, Bihar, Karnataka, Maharashtra, Telangana, and UP. These 6 states have councils. Clear? Why, etc. Details later. Just to also give you an example, so that you are not confused. Take this example of Karnataka. This is a state of Karnataka. Your entire state is divided into small parts known as constituency. This is see, this is a constituency. So all the people from this area will vote and choose somebody who represents them. That person is called member of parliament, MP. MP comes from that area, and MP is at the central level. Okay. Now, the same state is again divided into even smaller constituencies, further smaller ones. And what is this? These are known as, look at this, again the same thing, they are also known as a constituency, but this is for the assembly, meaning state, and this constituency was for the Lok Sabha, that is the parliament. Different. So you can see that the assembly constituency is smaller, right? And the people here, let's say this only, all the people here are voting and choosing somebody who is called what? MLA. Difference. MLA is at the state level, MP is at the central level. Okay, I hope there's no doubt. And what about the councils in Rajya Sabha? We don't need to discuss right now. I just give you an example to understand the constituency concept. MLA is at the state level, MP is at the central level. This is the same in all the states. Now, of course, in your state, the size of constituency is different, number of constituencies will be different, that will be different. But the concept is the same across the country. Okay. Lastly, we have a three-tier structure. Nothing to worry. We'll discuss this in detail. Just to point this out, at the urban level, the local self-governance is known as what? Municipality. And at the rural level, it is known as what? Panchayat. This is what is a reference to local self government, LSG. Now, what is a Zila Parishad? What is a block panchayat? Don't panic. All okay. Later on. Finally, the Mahamahim of this country, the courts, judiciary, the bosses. So we have at the lower level the courts called subordinate courts. Subordinate courts are also called trial courts. So if I by any chance mention trial courts, don't worry, we are referring to the lower courts. Subordinate courts have various levels: district court, sessions court, uh, chief judicial magistrates court, JM first class court, Munsif court, various courts are there. They're all called subordinate courts. And we have in total 25,129 judges. Okay. In all the courts, lower level courts across the country. Then we have how many high courts? We have 25 high courts, and some high courts have like Allahabad High Court 160 judges, Sikkim High Court 3 judges. So it varies, but in total we have 1114 judges, 1114 judges. And finally, the big boss, the Supreme Court. How many Supreme Courts? Only one Supreme Court. One Supreme Court. And it has 34 judges. Clear? Number of subordinate courts, that number is not mentioned anywhere. We treat them as courts only, right? Because it's the judge who is a court there, right? It's not just a building. In one single building, there can be multiple judges sitting. So if you want to know how many court halls are there exactly, it's somewhere around 20,163, if I'm not wrong. But that will have served no purpose, because there what is important is the judge. every judge gives his own decisions in a single court, a small room. So it's important to know how many judges are there. That's it. So this is the judiciary. Of course, Supreme Court is also sometimes referred to as the apex court. So if by chance I use apex court, don't panic. What the hell is this apex court? Where has this court come from? Clear? That's it. We are done with the basic information. And since we are done with the basic information, did we study any important article? Yes, we did. We did study Article 246 and Article 248, and we also studied one schedule 7. Apart from that, any important case that we studied? Yes, the Ram Javaya Kapoor case of 1955. That's it. No chapter, nothing as of now. That's all that we studied. Sufficient information. Let's do one thing. Let's take a quick break, a small break of around 10 minutes or 12 minutes. Be back at 12:10 and we'll continue our discussion further on the topics. So once the break is over, we'll actually begin our discussion formally on the topics at hand. Okay? Break please, guys. Come back at 12:10. Break please. Okay, welcome back, and let's begin our discussion. First up, a couple of things. Point one, we'll have a lunch at 1. So 1 to 2 is going to be our lunch, right? Second thing, the evening tea break is going to be 5 to 5:30. Okay, that's it. We'll have these breaks, and yes, in case if needed, we can have small 10-minute breaks in between. Of course, maybe somewhere around 3:30 or 3:20, we'll have a 10-minute break. Don't worry on that. Okay, but these are the two major breaks that we'll have today. The class will finish at 8. Clear? So I hope everybody is okay with this, and armed with this basic information, let's now begin our discussion. So as I discussed earlier, after the brief discussion on the most basic things, one more thing I'd like to just get your opinion. So I'm using two pen thicknesses. Which one do you prefer that I use? This is B, and this is A. So I'll just take a poll for me to understand. Whatever you may choose, A or B, it'll be easy for me to right, pick and choose and write. Okay, great. So we will choose A, the thicker pen. Great. Now, uh, when we discuss our topics under polity, you may have seen that in the books also and in the constitution as well. They start off with B is what? How innocent. It was a pen thickness. Somebody has joined later and is now confused. What happened? What did you miss? You missed nothing. Don't worry. It's okay. So, what you must have observed in your books as well is that they start off with article 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and so on and so forth. The problem is that the enumeration, so right now you are a beginner, you don't know much about the constitution. With limited knowledge, you don't understand that these are, I won't say mistakes, but these are not the best way to enumerate all the provisions in the constitution. And if we start with article 1 onwards, you'll have to assume a lot of things. The more you assume, the more complicated a matter becomes. So we will not start with article 1, 2, 3, 4. That makes no sense absolutely. We'll start with what is important, and when we finish the topics, you'll have to assume as less as possible. Okay? So we'll firstly start our discussion with the executive. Then we'll study the legislature. Then we'll study the state executive and state legislature. Once we are done, then the local self-government, then the judiciary. And after almost half the classes are over, we'll be done with LEJ. Then we'll study the smaller topics like part 1 of the constitution, citizenship, union territories, article 370, schedule 5 areas, schedule 6 areas, emergency provisions, center state relations, all such things, including of course elections. Once we are done with that, the last weekend or so will be devoted to studying about the fundamental rights, DPSP, fundamental duties, and of course, we'll be studying towards the end the preamble, the last topic. Because even in the Constituent Assembly, the last topic to be approved was the preamble, the summary of the Constitution. Okay? So, this is going to be the course of studies. No need to worry, everything will be covered, and this is by far the most logical way to cover. I won't say the most popular, but the most rational and logical way to cover. And only once you have gone through all this, you will appreciate it. Yes, it was the right way to cover. Clear? That's it. And I have not mentioned all the topics, of course. So don't say, sir, will we cover speaker, anti-defection law? Of course. We'll be covering under legislature. Don't worry. So nothing which is important for the examination and is mentioned in the syllabus will be excluded. Everything will be covered. So why I'm saying this again and again is that I don't want to get involved in petty issues. Issues which are not really relevant. Will it be covered? Panic every day. No. Focus on studying here. Please. You will not believe how many students waste their time in these issues and become the crusader. You are meant for bigger things in life. Ignore all this. We'll be covering everything. Nobody's running away in between. So don't panic. Clear? Okay. So now we'll begin our discussion with the executive. Today, the remaining portion, the period from 12:17 time right now till 8 p.m. we'll be focusing on the president, the powers, functions, elections, etc., vice president, and if the time allows, the prime minister and the council of ministers. Okay, let's begin now. First things first, the executive, that is under part 5 of the Indian Constitution, the Union Executive, Articles 52 to 78. Before that, one small topic: order of precedence, importance. In your family, let's say there's a family function. There are two chairs. Three people are standing: your grandfather, your father, and you. If there are only two chairs, who should sit? Grandfather and father. If there is only one chair, who will sit? Now, your grandfather may not be working right now. He may be retired, enjoying his life, may be sick, ill, or may not be running the family. Your father takes all the decisions. But nevertheless, if there is only one chair, the grandfather sits. Seniority, formal seniority. Order of precedence is also the seniority, a formal seniority. Ceremonial protocol list for important ceremonies. So this is basically the hierarchy of important positions in the country, hierarchy of important offices in the country. All the functionaries, all the dignitaries, they are arranged, they are listed in a hierarchy from the highest top down, descending order. And this list is established by the president but maintained by the home ministry. Who is the boss, the senior most? Of course, the senior most is the Indian president. Next, we have the vice president. Next, we have the prime minister. After that, so 1, 2, 3 in the order. Number 4, these are governors inside their state, within their state. Governor within the state. Like this person, people from Rajasthan would know, he is Kalraj Mishra. People from Kerala would know Arif Muhammad Khan. People from Tamil Nadu would know R.N. Ravi. So a governor inside his state is ranked 4th. Then we know country's favorite, the 11th President of India, the former President Dr. ABJ Abdul Kalam. So, Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam, the 11th President, was a former President of India. Former. So, these people who are former presidents are also in the top five, fifth in the order of hierarchy. Then follow people who are deputy prime ministers, right? If we have a deputy PM, so it is not mandatory, but sometimes we have deputy PMs, then they are next in the order. Then two people have the same rank, Chief Justice of India and Speaker in the Lok Sabha. Same rank. Clear? Now, these two people, who is a CJI right now? Justice D.Y. Chandrachud. Who is a speaker right now? Om Birla. Same rank. Anyway, just to summarize all this is a list of top 14 people. That is sufficient. So, around 20 years back, UPSC for 4 consecutive years asked a question on order of precedence. But suddenly, after the fourth year, they stopped asking questions. So, possibly a question may be asked, may not be asked, but we should know anyway that this is the order of precedence. President, vice president, PM, governors within the state, former president, deputy PM, CJI, etc., etc. Right? You can also see there is an IS officer somewhere here, cabinet secretary. Cabinet secretary is the senior most IAS in the country, 14th in the order of precedence. Are we clear? In fact, if it is not, then every UPSC aspirant who wants to become an IAS officer, your ultimate objective should be to become the cabinet secretary in the country. That's the senior most post in the country. Anyway, so that's the order of precedence. Solve a question quickly and then we'll move forward. Easy. I will give you just 45 seconds to mark the answer so as not to waste much time. So, what's the answer? Of course, C is the answer. You can see very well here. Governors, former president, deputy PM, CJI. So, governors rank 4, former presidents rank 5, then deputy PM 6, speaker and CJI rank 7. The answer is C. Great. Let's move on now. Now we'll study the union executive, all the 5 people or categories one by one, starting with the president, the vice president, the prime minister, his entire team of council of ministers, and the attorney general of India. First up is the president. Now, if you want to read Lakshmikant, in Lakshmikant, chapter 17 refers to the president. Feel free to read it. So, the Indian president, called by various names, this person is the head of the state. the head of the country. Article 52 says there shall be a president of India. It's not an optional post, it's mandatory. It's mentioned in the constitution. Shall means what? Shall means mandatory. Clear? The president of India is also referred to as sometimes the figurehead, also called the nominal head. Nominal, not real. Nominal, namesake, or de jure head. De jure head means by law. De jure, by law. So lawfully he is the head or she is the head, but they don't enjoy real powers. Why and how we'll discuss shortly once we start looking into the powers of the president. Clear? So this is all reference to the president, and of course, a very harsh reference sometimes is that the president is a mere rubber stamp. So why am I making all these allegations? Nominal head, not a real head. We'll come to it in a couple of hours. We'll discuss that also. First up, how are these people elected? Election of the Indian president. Now, before we begin, election of the Indian president is conducted by ECI, Election Commission of India. ECI, Election Commission of India. Okay. Number two, this is also important to know that who conducts election. So there's a person called Secretary General in the Lok Sabha, in the Rajya Sabha. They are the ones who conduct elections. So the person who is actually given the charge is called returning officer. Who is the returning officer? Returning officer is a person who is actually given the charge of conducting elections, counting of votes, all these things. So this person is the Secretary General, Lok Sabha, Rajya Sabha. Alternatively, so this is a person separately for both the houses is appointed. Example, in 2017, it was the Secretary General of the Lok Sabha. In 2022, who was returning officer? Secretary General of the Rajya Sabha. So, alternatively. Clear? So, this is the person whose task is to actually count the votes and all these things. Returning officer. Now, elections of the president, the procedure, etc., are mentioned in the constitution. There are some articles like Article 54, Article 55, 58, 62, 71. We'll discuss them as and when the time comes. Apart from this, there is also a law in the country which further gives details on what will be the procedure. That law is called the Presidential and the Vice Presidential Elections Act 1952. Now, something that you should understand. Who makes a law? Parliament. Who makes rules? What are rules? If you have a law already, why require rules? What's the difference? Let me explain. When it comes to a law, let's say there's a law in the country called Motor Vehicles Act 1988. That law says that if anybody wants to, uh, go out on a two-wheeler, you have to wear a safety headgear, a protective headgear. Some section 127, 128 mentions this safety headgear. That's the law. Meaning helmet. Helmet. Now you take your bike out on the road and wear a birthday cap on your head and say, this is my helmet. Because law says safety headgear. This is magical headgear. This is my safety headgear. That's stupid. But the problem is, the law cannot go into all these details. The parliament has no time. So when the laws are made, the executive at the ground level have to implement these laws. So based on what can be a possible issue, concern, challenge, etc., they make rules. Rules are made to effectively implement laws so that the laws can be implemented effectively. Rules. So basically, what happens? Rules will be made, and in the rules, it will be told safety headgear should be made of carbon fiber, steel, diamond, gold, whatever. So that is rules. So what are rules? Rules are, like rules provide flesh and blood to the skeletal structure of law. That's what rules are. So to implement laws properly, we need rules. And laws are made by parliament, rules are made by executive. So we also have rules. The presidential and the VP election rules of 1974. Clear? Now, question number one. Who votes in the election of the president? So, if I may ask, how many of you here voted in the election of president? Please tell me. If there's anyone who voted, say yes. Of course not. You cannot vote because the electoral college comprises of. Oh, Atish voted. Yes. Oh, no, no, Atish, you did not. I am sure of it. So, electoral college comprises of MPs and MLAs only. Now, what is electoral college? Electoral college means a group of electors. Who are electors? Elector is just a reference to voter. Okay. So from now onwards, don't call voter elector. Clear? So who are the electors? Who are the voters? This is mentioned under Article 54 that the voters in the election of the president to choose the president will be all the elected MPs and all elected MLAs. All elected MPs of the Lok Sabha, of the Rajya Sabha, and all elected MLAs of the states, and also those UTs which have assemblies. States. Here, states includes UTs with assembly. What is a UT? Please tell me. Union territory. A territory controlled, administered, managed directly by the union is called a union territory. Andaman Nicobar, Lakshadweep, Chandigarh, Dadra Nagar Haveli and Daman and Diu. What are they? UTs. Now, as of now, some UTs have an assembly, MLA concept. Those UTs are Delhi and Pondicherry. Now you may say, sir, Jammu and Kashmir assembly? Yes. So far, Jammu and Kashmir has been reorganized to have an assembly, but Jammu and Kashmir's name is not added here. So in future, when they get an assembly after elections take place, then Jammu and Kashmir's name can be added here. As of now, the MLAs, since they are not there, nobody is taking part in voting here. Clear? So UT with assembly means Delhi and Pondicherry only. Clear? Basic information. In fact, one more thing that you should know, the election takes place when the voters vote, and the voters are MPs and MLAs across the country, and all these are just examples, photographs. For example, we have the MLA. So people from Andhra Pradesh would know, right? Who is he? YSR Jagan, MP MLA from Pulivendula constituency. MLA from New Delhi, MP in the Rajya Sabha, of course, MP in the Lok Sabha from Gandhinagar, and this lady MP from Rai Bareli. Actually, I used to have the photograph of Rahul Gandhi, but because he was disqualified, I removed the photograph. Again, he's become eligible, so I'll have to replace it. Rahul Gandhi is a perfect image. Did you understand this? Now, one small point. Sometimes, people do ask this question. Did sir, what if some MP has died? Then who votes on his behalf? What if 10 MPs have died? What if in some state MLAs are not there only? Elections are happening. President's rule is there. We don't care. Election of the president is held every 5 years in the fixed time frame. Whether MP is alive, MLA is alive. Whether in some state MLAs are there or they are not there, we don't care. If one MP is there or 10 MPs are there, elections will always take place on their fixed time. Clear? So, even if assemblies are dissolved, we don't care. Election will take place in its own fixed time. Okay? That's it. Now, who cannot take part? So, of course, all the other MPs who are not elected, meaning, now you don't know right now, but over the next weekend you'll know that in Rajya Sabha, there are some MPs who are not elected. They are directly chosen by the president, nominated by the president. Those people don't have the right to vote in the election of the president. These are basically MPs in the Rajya Sabha as of now. For example, Justice Ranjan Gogoi, former Chief Justice of India, the 46th Chief Justice of India. So he is a nominated MP in the Rajya Sabha. Or the Asian gold medalist PT Usha, she is a nominated MP in the Rajya Sabha. They can't vote. Or sometimes in which states have councils? Andhra Pradesh, Bihar, please, Karnataka, Maharashtra, Telangana, and UP. In these 6 states, you also have MLC, Legislative Council members. They can't vote. So, for example, the current Chief Minister of Bihar, people from Bihar would know, Mr. Nitish Kumar, he is an MLC, right? Not MLA. So, these people don't vote. Now, how many of these MPs are there? Only 12 are there. Does not really matter, small number, but they don't vote. So, who can vote? Always remember, all elected MPs and all elected MLAs of states. States also includes UTs with assemblies of Delhi and Pondicherry only as of now, not Jammu and Kashmir. So, they vote. Now, how is the president elected after all? First things first, now you can understand the president is elected indirectly because we don't vote. We don't vote. MPs, MLAs are voting who have been chosen indirectly by us. We have voted for them directly and they vote for the president. So, election is indirect. Indirect, no problem. And we follow the system of proportional representation by means of single transferable vote. No, please, relax. Just calm down. I'll explain these two words. Don't worry at all. What's the meaning? We'll come to it in the next few slides. Don't worry. But what is also important to note is that the voting is through a secret ballot. These two things are mentioned under Article 55, Clause 3. Okay? Voting is through a secret ballot, and the counting of the votes takes place in New Delhi. Okay? All the MLAs vote in their respective state assemblies. All the MPs vote in the Delhi Parliament, and then ballot boxes sent to Delhi, and counting takes place there. Okay? That's how it is done. Now here there is no EVM. We have ballot paper. Also, there is no concept of nota. What is nota? So those people who have never gone to vote in the election of the Lok Sabha, Vidhan Sabha, you would not know. Nota means none of the above. There is an option with a cross symbol which means reject everybody. All are useless. Nota. None of the above. One more thing. Sometimes, not for all people, for armed forces personnel in the Lok Sabha elections or the Vidhan Sabha elections, there's an option that if they are serving at the border, right, or some IFS officer in the foreign country, he can ask somebody else to vote on their behalf. That's called proxy voter, right? Here, there is no proxy. If an MLA is busy somewhere, is in the hospital, MLA cannot tell his friend, come on, you go and vote on my behalf. No, no, no. You have to come to the assembly to cast your vote. If you are not there, sorry, your vote gone. Nobody cares. No proxy voting allowed. Okay, this is not a college attendance. Apart from it, one more thing. No, just write this point. Don't worry what it means. We'll discuss this later on. No whip. What is whip? Whip, just to mention this point here, whip means instruction from the party. So normally in the Lok Sabha, in the Rajya Sabha, in the Vidhan Sabha, in the Vidhan Parishad, your party bosses tell you how to vote, where to vote, yes, no, what to press the button. But in the election of president, your party bosses cannot tell you what to vote or who to vote for. You are free to choose. The idea is it's a conscience vote. You can choose anyone, no problem. So these things are also there. Now comes a very, very interesting element, the concept of vote value. So for some of you, it may be a slight bit of confusion and understanding, but I would want to go back to a photograph. This photograph. And let me ask you a simple question. Tell me, looking at the size of the constituency, who do you think is more important? Who has the support of more people? Who represents more people? MP or MLA? Please tell me. Do we all agree that MP commands a larger? Somebody is saying MLA. Do we all agree that MP commands a larger area? MP represents more number of people? Yes or no? Excuse me. So that's there. MP commands a larger area. MP represents more people. Now, I hope you've understood. So let's come back again here. So now my question is, when we go to the polling booth to cast our vote, right? The concept is one person, one vote. One person, one vote. Yes or no? Why? This concept is used in general election. And why is it used? Because I am representing my views only. Simple. I represent my views. That's it. Now, whether you are Ambani or Adani or Tata or Birla or a poor person, does not matter. One person, one vote. But in the case of election of the president, who is a voter? MLA is a voter and MP is a voter. Now, do you think MLAs and MPs are at the same level? No. MP is more important, or MP represents larger area, plus MP represents more people. So when the MP is casting his vote, think of it, the entire constituency is casting his vote, casting their vote through him. MLA represents a smaller area, smaller number of people, and when MLA votes, the entire small constituency, all the people are casting their votes indirectly through him. If MLA MP have the same vote value, then what's the point? Therefore, MP and MLA can't have same value when casting vote. Do we all agree on this? And do we all understand this? It is only fair that they have different vote value, right? Okay. But the point is, if an MLA casts a vote, should it be one vote? Of course not. Then this must have some kind of value, that if an MLA casts his vote, 10 votes are cast in your favor. If MP casts his vote, 100 votes are cast in your favor. We can say all that. But how to estimate it? Think of it. MLA of Sikkim, MLA of Bihar, MLA of UP, MLA of Kerala. They are all commanding different group of people. We can't equate them, right? So even MLAs across the states may not have the same value. So how to calculate it? Formula. So we came up with a simple formula. It is mentioned in the constitution, and this formula was given by N.G. Iyengar. Okay, not important, but since he was a member of drafting committee, N.G. Iyengar. What is this formula? How to calculate the vote value of MLA? Very, very simple and easy. Vote value of one MLA of any state. What do? You take the population of that state. Total population of the state, and then you divide the population of the state with the number of elected MLA seats that are there. We call it elective seats. But this number is huge. So to simplify, to ease the calculation, what we'll do is we'll multiply this with 1 by 1000. This will bring down the number to a manageable level. Otherwise, we'll have to calculate in crores. So, this is the formula. One small point. Now tell me, you will say, but sir, population of state, let's say I have to calculate the population of or the vote value of some MLA in Telangana. Population of state when? Today? Yesterday? 2011 census? 2021 census, which is not there also, only? When? Which population must be taken? So, here we are going to take 1971 census population. 1971 census. Now you will say, why 1971? That is stupid. 2011 census is already there. Why not 2011? Why 1971? Very simple reason. For that, let's understand through an example first. This is an example of Telangana. In Telangana, we have 119 MLAs. Population of Telangana was in 1971 1.57 crores. Basically, what we have done, all those areas of Andhra Pradesh which are now currently in Telangana, we have taken their population, what was it in 1971, and we are calculating it. Okay, so total population upon number of seats into 1 by 1000, this figure comes to 132. Meaning, when a Telangana MLA casts a vote in your favor, you get 132 votes, 132 points. Clear? Now look at this list on your screen. This list comprises of all the states, all the MLAs. Say Andhra Pradesh. Andhra Pradesh has 175 MLAs. Population in 1971 was 2.78 crores. So we can solve and get 159 as the vote value. Now just observe something of crucial importance. Take the example of a state like Bihar. How many MLAs? 243. Population in 1971, 4.2 crores. So vote value, 173. Let's come to say a state like Maharashtra, 288, 5 crores. Vote value, 175. Now let's come to a smaller state. Say a state like Nagaland, 60 MLAs. Population is just 5,16,000. Vote value, 9. Or even lesser, come to a state like Sikkim, MLAs 32, population 2 lakhs 7. So when the population is low, the vote value is also low, right? Do we agree? Think of it. See the example of Kerala, 140 MLAs, 2.13 crore people, 152 is the vote value. Or Tamil Nadu, 234 MLAs, 4.1 crores, 176 is the vote value. Look at this. Bihar and Tamil Nadu. Look at the MLA vote value comparison. MLA of Tamil Nadu has a bigger vote value than Bihar MLA. Why? Population. Now understand. If a state's population keeps on increasing, if the numerator keeps on increasing, the vote value also increases. Yes or no? So my point is, if population increases, vote value increases. I think we all would agree on it, right? In the southern part of the country, states like Kerala, states like Tamil Nadu, these states realize one thing, that we have to keep a check on our population, because more people is only a burden on the limited resources. But in the northern states, UP, Bihar, Bengal, Odisha, MP, etc., their governments never told their people, spread awareness of the importance of having lesser kids, people having 10 kids, 15 kids. Their idea was more kids, more hands to work. Their population is increasing. Now, they are actually just pressurizing, just putting the country into resource crunch. Southern states are actually taking proactive steps into controlling population. So, if you take the latest census data, northern states population has increased drastically. Southern states population has not increased that much because they have taken positive steps. So southern states vote value will come down. Northern states vote value will go high. So are you punishing the southern states because they took a right step? That's so silly. So the center said, let's do one thing. In 1976, in 1976, center said, let's see, we'll do one thing. This 1971 census, this census will be used for the next 25 years. And the northern states, you please behave yourself. Tell your people not to have so many kids. There are other things in life. Please control your population. So, for the next 25 years, we are fixing the formula at 1971 census. Constitution was amended and the formula was fixed via 42nd Amendment Act of 1976. After 25 years, we have come to which year now? For next 25 years. Which year have we come? 2001. Again, the center saw that these northern states are not taking any step right now also to control population. Again, we have said, no, no, no. We can't take the new census. Again, fixed via this time 84th Amendment Act 2001 for next 25 years. Okay, so this was done in 2001. Are we clear on this? So why was the population of 1971 used, and why is it used? To promote family planning norms in the country. Are we clear? Everybody? That is why the old census is used. Otherwise, it will give undue advantage to the northern states for something that they have not taken care of, frankly. Okay? That's why. Now, the next thing is to calculate the vote value of MPs. The vote value of MP, one MP, is very easy to calculate. What do? You calculate vote value of one MLA in one state. Let's say you calculate vote value of one MLA in Andhra Pradesh. Okay, fair enough, done. 159. You find out the vote value of all the MLAs of Andhra Pradesh. Okay, then calculate vote value of one MLA of Arunachal. Find out vote value of all the MLAs of Arunachal. You keep on calculating vote value of all the MLAs across the country. Add all of them together. Okay, you get this number. You divide this number with the total number of elected MPs in the parliament. Simple formula. So the formula is total vote value of all MLAs upon number of elected MPs. And if you calculate it, you will get the formula for the vote value of one MP. Look at this figure here. This is what we found, the vote value of all the MLAs. Divide by number of MPs. How many MPs do we have? In Lok Sabha, we have 543 MPs. In Rajya Sabha, we have 245 MPs. out of which 233 are elected and 12 are nominated. So since nominated need not be included, only elected 776. Divide this, you get this number 700. Meaning when the MP casts his vote, 700 votes go into the favor of the candidate. 700. So one more thing, just to observe this point here. Can I say now that vote value of MLAs varies from one state to another? Can I make this kind of statement? Tell me. Yes or no? So, vote value of MLAs, it varies from one state to another. Yes. Now, can I say that the vote value of MPs, whether Lok Sabha or Rajya Sabha, is fixed? Yes or no? Vote value of MP is fixed, and that number is 700. Whether you are an MP in the Lok Sabha, MP in the Rajya Sabha, whether you are the Prime Minister or Rahul Gandhi, it does not matter. When you cast your vote, it's 700. Clear? So that's it. This is how the vote values are calculated. Are we clear, everybody? Yes? Okay. So if you are so clear and so nice now, then please solve this question. Solve old question first. I'll give you 1 minute to mark the answer. Once we solve all these three questions, we'll take a break. Don't worry. Okay. So please solve the questions one by one. Mridula, MP vote value is fixed because of calculation. Formula. Look at the formula and you will understand why it is fixed. Because the numerator is fixed, denominator is fixed, value is fixed. For MLAs, because state population keeps on changing, number of MLAs in states keep on changing. So these things keep on changing, so the number keeps on changing. A lot of you marked this correct, some of you marked A. Guys, are we serious? Come on. The electoral college elections, the value of vote of elected MLA, state population, very good. Upon number of elected MLAs, very good. Into what? 100 or 1000? 1000, not 100. 1000. That's where you faltered. Okay, so one is wrong. The value of vote of an elected MP equals total value of votes of all MLAs upon number of MPs. That is correct actually. This is correct. So one is wrong, remove these two. Two is right, so this is the answer. There were more than 5,000 members in the latest election in 2003. No, total number of MLAs in the country and the MPs in the country is less than 5,000. You can simply see here, total number of MPs are how many? 776. MLAs, 4,033. So 4033 plus 776 is what? Less than 5,000. So of course 3 is wrong. Clear? One more question. One more question, please. I know it's 1-5. You are extremely hungry, dying if you don't get food in time. Maybe death can also happen. But I think survival is life. Please. Bear for 2-3 more minutes. Yes, Yuvraj, absolutely correct. Done? Okay, great. A lot of you have marked C as the answer. But some of you have marked, a lot of you marked A. That's good. The value of vote of each MLA varies from state to state. Absolutely correct. Amazing. Great. Hats off to you. The value of vote of MP of Lok Sabha is more? Really? No. Vote value of MP of Lok Sabha is 700. Of Rajya Sabha is 700. It's fixed. 2 is wrong. 1 is right, 2 is wrong. A, 1 only is the right answer. Okay? We have one more question, but we'll take this question after the break. It'll take some time for me to explain this also. It's an easy question, but slightly factual. Okay? Let's take a break. Be back at what time? 2:07, full 1 hour. Or come back at 2:10. Enjoy 3 extra minutes. Live your life. King size, queen size. Okay? Come back at 2:10 and we'll continue our discussion further. Break, please. Don't be late. And please have some tea, coffee. I don't want you sleeping after the break. Okay? That's all for me, guys. Jai Hind for now. Let's meet after the